Hello， 大家好，我是 KB 的代，欢迎收看 KB 带来的这个游戏实况啊。这一次游戏实况的名字叫做史丹利的预言啊，是一个这个旁白为主要的这个内容下的一个游戏啊，非常有意思的一个游戏。那我们直接进去看一下是什么情况啊，非常好玩。
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
这个 CG 终于是放完了啊！我等了好久啊！这个史丹利，好，那么他是发现了这个员工都不见了，我们要去看一下是什么情况。这边员工好多啊，而且每个人都有单独的。
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
每个人都有单独的这个办公室。
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
同事会不会躲在下面呢？好吧，应该是不会。这边鼠标左键可以开门 ，Ctrl 是可以蹲下，还不能跳跃。
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference.
好吧，这旁白好像看到我在
Nor
干
did it
嘛了。
advance the story in any way.
好吧，我走吧。这旁白好像发现了我在干嘛。 我们走来走去。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
史丹利走左边的门，我们走左边看一下。这个游戏有好多的结局啊，我们可以一个个打过去。先走这个听从旁白的这个结局来走。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
如何解决与同事之间的不和？生闷气，使用幻灯片来安抚员工啊！我真的是被你安抚到了。这会议室都讲这些东西啊，走吧。杂物室，哎呦，门都把自己给推出去了。
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
杂物室，没什么东西，走吧。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
老板的办公室在楼上，这不能开，锁了。 这边有个什么？执行官浴室，我能开吗？不能开，锁了。哇，老板的办公室好大呀！
Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
老板后面有个键盘2845，一个密码，史丹利不知道，可是他好像这旁白叫我去手贱去点这个东西。
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs.
我没在玩
Trying
手
to
指呀。
input anything on the device was useless, since he
他
could
不可
never
能知道数
possibly
字是
know
2
the
4。
combination
哦，
was
这是这个，
2845.
哦，是这个，是这个，是这个。可是我不知道呀，我应该是按理讲是不知道的，对吧？
2845.
我说了我不知道，这旁白干什么也不知道，一定要告诉我密码，好坏。看看这边，没什么。诶，这下面还有墙纸吗？好厉害！壁炉里面有墙纸，还有钢琴。可是我不知道呀。
But it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself. And Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
啊，这闹哪样？我不是不知道吗？天哪！这不是《求生之路》里面的那个发电机吗？哇，好黑呀！老板这个公司好大，一定是个有钱人。这就跳到下一关了。哦，不是下一关，这应该不是一关一关，一个章节吧？一个章节，下一个章节。
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
废话，你跑到老板的秘密基地里面去，你是不是要紧张啊？是不是要兴奋？哎呦，黑不溜秋，啥也看不到。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
哎，这边有一个，这什么？这什么？这逃生是吗？出口还是什么意思？应该是吧。
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
面临自己残暴的死亡。
But of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for.
他还知道我回头了，厉害。
Nope, still on board with death.
这跟算了，还走吧。不要，还是不要吧。就听他的这个旁白说的，我们进这个地方。这是什么？这是那个 X 战警里面那个教授的 X 教授的那个地方吗？好厉害。然后呢？
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
这边有个桥，我们走过去。好大呀！然后呢？这边有个按钮，这么大个按钮。
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
为什么这边还有个红屏的？好厉害！哦，这边又开了一条路。我们的427在哪？427，这是我的。427。
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
哦，这到哪里啊？
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
怎么消除啊？按了个3，会怎么样？没怎么样。是不是下去会作死啊？这下面是水吗？这个贴图看起来不像是水，还是先不下去。控制人精神的一个公司，好厉害！哦，这边有个好大的一个红灯，不能按吗？都是离线状态。这边有个门，门锁的，有个2，有个1。我们要怎么走？现在他没有告诉我了。这边有个楼梯，上去看一下，会有什么东西？4。那我们去那个那么大一个设施电力，去那个房间找找。这边还有个5，1、2、3、4、5，好黑呀！哇，我感觉我在看 IMAX 的电影，哈哈，这应该是个 IMAX 的电影。
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
还是要我应该把它关掉，那么关掉。
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you?
哦，按错了，不好意思。
You enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control?
我按错了呀。
Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the networked emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going. What all this means, I barely know where to start.
门还关了，这个旁白。
You'd like to know where your co-workers are?
我
A moment of
他就按
solace
3
before
哎
you're，
3在
obliterated.
哪？
All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees.
时间怎么变成40几
What's
秒
the
了？
matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just
是不
assume
是这个
when
东
you
西
saw that timer that
33
something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here.
我要被炸成，
Being blown.
我要被炸成渣渣了。
Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go?
这下面不会就是核弹口吧？
Other choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same. to me. All a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say happily ever up.
哦哟，这旁边干什么也不知道，我只是按错了而已，干什么一点机会都不给，好坏呀、一点机会都不给的。啊，轮回了，天道好轮回啊！那我们继续。还好我是被核弹炸死的，这个死没什么痛苦。
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose
密
be?
码是多少来着？24 几来着？
This keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the
旁白
narrator
生气了
talk.
对不起，对不
That
起，
kind
你
of
没念完。
anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
对不起，对不起，对不起，你他妈让我开门，让我开门，开门，干什么？对不起，真的是。
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
好，我按了这个关闭，然后呢，我是不是就按快了？这潘潘又不开心了。那你音乐是什么意思？
And a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay
我们出来在这个破地方。
Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know.
他在这边出去会被
It
饿
was
死的，
perhaps the only thing worth knowing.
一个人都没有。
Stanley
哦，有
stepped
房子
through the open door.
啊，踏出了呢开着的门。好，哎，踏出来，
Stanley
出来了。
felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
好，这就是正统的结局吗？应该是吧。好，这应该就是这个正统的结局了。啊，一个不知道什么意思的结局，啊，是什么？精神控制之后他跑了出来，啊，就是这个样子。那么这一期的话，实况到此结束啊，我是 KB 的呆，我们